free to take pictures, video, live stream, share, but make sure that you turn off the notifications on your phone, just be respectful and responsible.
No, this is my app.
And our first speaker today is Annette Novo from Entertainment Partners. Annette is the Director of Benefits Solution at Entertainment Partners. Her career spans various industries and disciplines, primarily focusing on entertainment and information technology. She's a graduate from the University of Pennsylvania Annenberg School of Communications with a concentration in management from the Wharton School. In 2011, Annette joined Entertainment Partners, and after successfully using big data to solve the ACA compliance problem, she will be focusing on providing digital analytics services to the entertainment industry. She will be presenting a talk titled Lights, Camera, Analytics. Please join me in welcoming Annette.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here. This is my first conference, and it looks like it's a great event. I would like to make this as interactive as possible. You all have been very patient and quiet this morning listening to the speakers, but I'd like to make this your session because I'm here to tell you about a story of how we use big data to solve a problem for the entertainment industry. So without further ado, I'm going to get this show started. We're very theatrical, yes. So as you know, Hollywood makes great content. And as we heard many of the speakers talking about this morning, especially the Vice President from Warner Brothers was talking about how the content is exploding. This is no longer just about theatrical, it is no longer about television. It is about all the digital content that is out there, and it is multiplying. And to do this, there are hundreds of thousands of people employed every year to make this happen. Does anybody know what this picture is from? Can you tell? Well, it's obviously like a film crew.
Star Wars?
You're close.
Suicide Squad.
Yes, who said it first? Okay, you get a prize. Good job. This is from Suicide Squad. Have you ever sat and watched the credits roll in a movie? There, you can see there's name after name after name after name. And then, so now we know that these people are all really good at making content. But what they're not so good at, or what they need help with, is complying with government regulations and laws. Oh, sorry. I know okay, so this is where we step in and we help. So I'm sure you've been hearing all about the ACA. Is it a repeal? Is it a replace? Is it a repair? What is it? What's going on with it? We are the people that keep tabs on all this stuff to help all of the companies in entertainment stay in compliance. So just really quick, what's the ACA? You've heard of Obamacare. Right, it's a federal law. It went into effect in 2015, and it basically says that employers must offer insurance to their full-time employees. And it also says that individuals are required to obtain health coverage. Sounds okay so far, right? But there's complexities associated with it because the IRS creates forms about how to report on it. Did you comply with the law or not? Okay, so far so good. And there are hefty penalties for non-compliance, so most people do want to comply, right? Most companies. Entertainment is a little different, and here is where I'm going to tell you how it applies and how big data helped. So essentially, I had to draw a picture to do this. ACA says you have to go up to the highest level parent company to figure out if somebody has been working for your organization. You can't just do it at the legal entity level. That's the level that you're obligated to offer, but you have to measure up above. So what happens in entertainment? It's like technology. Do all of you work from project to project to project? Most of you should be doing this, because that's exactly how it works, right? And you work on a project, January through March, and then you go to a different project and you work, June through August, or maybe it's longer than that, and throughout the year. So the person that works here may not necessarily be working here. They could have gone on to a completely different project at a completely different company. Well, so far, I haven't painted a really difficult picture, have I? So what's the problem? Here's where it gets complicated. All of the companies, Warner Brothers, Sony, Fox, you name it, they use different payroll providers to staff their productions. They are not the employer of record. So guess who the largest employer in the state of California is? Private employer. Wild guess.
Disney, United States, Warner Brothers. Disney.
In California,
Who's the largest? What's the question?
private employer in the state of California.
Disneyland.
It's Entertainment Partners. Did that shock you? Yes. Why? Because we are actually the employer of record for all of those people that you saw in those pictures on the sets. We are the ones that actually provide them their W-2s. We have a co-employment relationship with all of the production companies. So we have the visibility into who's working where. Okay. We move on to the next. So while we are the W-2 co-employer partnership with the production company, we are not the obligated party per the ACA. It is still Disney, it is still Time Warner, it is still Sony that's obligated. Now it's starting to get complicated. Because production companies and parent companies have now lost visibility into who's working where. Because they also move their productions to different payroll providers. So assume that we're payroll provider X, and we're doing this show and this show. They hired somebody else to do this show, and now they can't see that this lady is still working for them here. And then they would be out of compliance if that person actually qualified for health insurance.
Attribution, right? Like not be able to.
They can't aggregate it, right? Okay. So the big problem, we don't have a single record, HR record for a person. That doesn't exist anywhere. So that's where big data comes in. There's some additional complexities in that, remember those forms that I showed you from the IRS? They don't just want to know when somebody started and stopped working. They also want to know if somebody had insurance. Did you offer? When did you offer? Did they enroll? How much did they have to pay? So now we're talking about you have to get the insurance company data to come in. And while you're collecting data from all of these different sources, another complication in the entertainment industry is that the employees are union and non-union. Some work exclusively union, some work exclusively non-union. Some work both. There's different ways to report that. Compliance. It's hard to unlock this puzzle. But, so here's the solution. It's not just about collecting all of the data, but it's also about having that domain expertise to understand the data that you're looking at and to put it together so that it tells the right story. Okay, you have to collect your insurance information, you have to collect your payroll information, and you have to use big data analytics. So, I already mentioned Entertainment Partners, the largest private employer in the state of California. We are not just the payroll provider though. And here's what distinguishes our company from the others. We actually have domain knowledge. We have legal experts that interpret the laws. We have IRS experts that sit on counsel to the IRS to interpret how to comply with the laws. And we provide services across a variety of different areas. So it's not just compliance, which is what our talk is about today, but in financial services, it's the payroll, all the accounting that goes on behind the scenes, where these productions are spending money. We provide software that all of the productions use. We also provide insurance services because there is a whole group of people who previously did not have access to insurance. And because they moved around so much, there was no product that was available to help them. So our company developed the first private exchange for insurance in the entertainment business. So our CEO always likes to characterize EP as a mile wide and a mile deep. We do have competitors, but they are either a mile wide or a mile deep, not both. We happen to do both. Any questions on that before I move on? Okay. So you've seen this one before. You know that we are collecting data. So what made this so special is that in entertainment, there's a lot of secrecy, right? Nobody wants anybody to know what project they're working on or how much this cost or how much that cost. Payroll providers are the same way. To get people to cooperate and bring their data together to solve a problem for the industry was not easy. But that's where Entertainment Partners really stepped in. We have 70% of the marketplace in this business. That's a huge statistic. 70. That's great. So we figured out a way how to align it. The data was in all different forms and all different shapes from all different sources. We figured out how to bring it together. We figured out how to then populate the forms and then how to get it out to people. So you might have gotten this form in the mail yourselves, I'm not sure. And we also figured out how to get it up to the IRS, completing the cycle. So now what? Now we've been collecting all of this data for the industry. Just very powerful data. And guess what? That's not the only thing we can do with it. Because not only are there new laws all of the time that you have to comply with, there are sick leave laws in effect, 401ks around the corner, mandated 401ks, paid parental leave. That's a big thing right now in New York. It's upcoming in January, and a lot of the companies are like, oh my gosh, what do we do? But because we have over 40 years of information in our data stores, we're able to harness the power of that data and provide solutions to the clients all on these fronts. And we're going to continue to develop that to provide predictive analytics based on financial data as well as workforce analytics. So, as everybody else is hiring, we are too. And I wanted to introduce Gillian. Where are you, Gillian? Right there. She's our head of talent acquisition. So, don't be shy, say hi. We brought some really nice tchotchkes for you. Yes?
Question, are you one of the only, I've heard someone else doing this as well, are you one of the first to be doing this? And secondly, this is going to become the norm from now on in Hollywood?
Well, we were the first. not one of them. In fact, what's really funny is that, well, we provide WebExes and education and all that. All our competitors always say, what's EP doing? And I can say that truthfully because Christy, who's here, she runs our benefits area with the insurance product, came from a company that we acquired, was a competitor, now is a part of EP. And what did they used to say?
At every turn, it was always, well, how is EP doing it? Let's use them for our guidance because we know they're doing a good job.
Yes.
I work in production. I'm just asking.
Yes.
I know how Hollywood can be, and I'm just like,
Yes.
you mentioned like the privacy, the numbers, but I also feel like, well, if we paid this much for this person just like 6 months ago, wouldn't we want to know that data? Like, you know, that's
Yes.
the practical like
Absolutely.
part of it. But then there's also like the secrecy. But I kind of feel like, you know, it is what it is. So it's kind of like I think having this information, you know, accessible and actionable is better. But I was just curious, like if Hollywood was resistant or still is, or like some studios that do it and some are resistant with this method. I'm just curious.
Oh, no. We service the majority of all of the major studios. In fact, of all of the major studios, only 2 chose to do a different solution. One did it in-house and one did it with a competitor. And every once in a while they come back to us and say, okay, so what are you doing? How come it was so easy? Okay. And so we have an incredible adoption rate on this service. We have over 80 clients that use the government, what we call the government reporting, ACA Premier, and over 100 clients on the insurance product. And sick leave, everybody has to participate. It's not an option. So, yes.
Can you give me a sense of like the duration and the depth of the project? When
Yes.
did it start?
Yes.
When did it finish? How many parties were involved? Did EP do it all by themselves? Did they contract anything?
I love your questions. You get a prize. I love his questions too. Give him a prize. That's a good question. So in order to, so remember the law went into, the law was, I don't know what the right word is, Mary, you're legal, but it came enacted in 2010. And then they made it effective in 2015 to allow employers time to figure out what they were going to do. So we knew that this was coming. In 2013, we kicked off the project. And it was a company-wide kind of endeavor with people from all different aspects of the company. You're right. We did have, in the beginning, we did use assistance because we wanted to get something in quick and build on that knowledge. So we did partner with Mercer. And they used a microroom strategies platform that they already had, but they used us for the domain expertise. They're great at HR. They didn't know entertainment. So they actually partnered with us. So the project started in 2013. By 2014, we already had the insurance product available in January. By 2015, I think this, okay. By 2015, we implemented the government reporting side, which is the first year it had to go into effect. I don't even know how many people we had on the project. I've lost count. Did I answer all of them? You had such great good
Going
questions.
back 5 or some years, and the skill sets weren't available then to
Yes.
build the project. So it would take that amount of time gathering resources from all over as much as you could.
Absolutely, that's right. And now we've brought it in-house, right? And I'm not the technology expert, but I'm, you know, I've heard the words Redshift, Hadoop. We just use it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you had a first.
Yeah, I just had a question. So, I mean, we've got a lot of data, right? And have you started taking a look at macroeconomic data that you could actually utilize to monetize? So, in other words, I mean, in the industry, you have an idea of all the people that
Yeah.
are moving around the country,
That's right.
doing all these various projects.
That's right.
That has implications on, you know, hospital, right, medical care, right?
That's right.
Insurance providers as well.
Yes.
Have you started taking a look at any of that stuff?
That's exactly what we're going to get into next there. And that's what we've realized as a web, like, put all this together. And you're right. Originally, without the data, people were thinking, oh, they work union, they work non-union, they typically work here. And what we realized is people are extremely fluid, and the same people get hired over and over again through those relationships, right? Because you know you work with so-and-so over here, then you get hired over there. But guess what? Over there, didn't know that you worked over here, and that that other company was all part of the same employer. That's where, yeah, you're right. There's a lot of value there. That's where we're coming to next.
Yeah, just a follow-up comment on that is back into the companies that finance these productions, right?
Yes.
Because if you understand exactly what the performance characteristics of that investment are,
Yes.
you can help them with managing the risk a little better,
Yeah.
right? Is the production running on time, right? There's on schedule.
Right.
Are people there? Are people taking too many sick leaves, right?
Right.
And as a result, there's going to be additional risk in place.
No, exactly. And EP is the creator of the Movie Magic budgeting and Movie Magic scheduling, probably industry standards. People that work in production, you see he's shaking his head. Absolutely right. It's very powerful information. Okay, all right, right here.
You mentioned you created a data exchange. Can you talk about that at all, and who uses it, and the benefits they get from it?
Oh, it's all one way into our data store. We were very successful at convincing the other companies to provide us with that. And then what we do is that we provide the value to the clients, the production companies and studios. We're also looking to work with the MPAA now because they see the value of having all of this data all together. Yes.
Yeah, and I got here late. I made a left turn in Albuquerque.
It's okay.
Used to work at Warner Brothers. Do you have the actual call sheets and
Yes.
production reports in the system?
Yes.
So I can find out that second AD that's having my extras work above their 8-hour day.
Yes.
So I can do a linear regression on which first assistant director actually keeps this director on schedule more than other ones, or how.
Yes.
And you're not doing that yet, but that will be on the roadmap.
Well, that specific data is available right now.
But is somebody doing a regression
Well,
and doing and pulling the?
No one has asked for that I'm aware of.
Right.
Where I deal with is more the all aggregated together
Right.
kind of stuff. Yes.
Which technology do you use? Which data store network? What is the technology behind it?
Hold on. This is where I go to my cheat sheet. Unfortunately, my technology guy could not attend this morning. And actually, I'm going to do one better. Let me, it is here somewhere. It is here, it is here, it is here. Okay, I hope this means something to you. Here. Do you know what this means? Yeah. And then
This is on the in-house or is on the cloud, like Amazon Web Service?
cloud.
Cloud. And which provider are you using, Microsoft or Amazon Web Service?
Yes. Redshift.
Redshift.
Yes. So let me go to the next one.
Okay.
Yes. Here's where we're evolving into this. We're about to connect up to the Amazon Redshift Enterprise Data Warehouse.
That's good, thank you. That's what I was looking for.
Sorry?
Good slide.
Okay, good, yay. Oh my goodness. Hold on. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, what percentage of your tech employees versus consultants contract?
Oh, Gillian, do you have that? Do you know how many in-house versus,
First, you mean people in production? I'm sorry.
no, tech, like at our company, actually working on solutions like this?
Yeah, we have we're pretty much. Yeah.
Versus consultants?
Consultants, I don't have a number, unfortunately, but I would
Yeah.
say a lot less.
Yeah. I know we do tend to staff up when we're doing projects, as is normal, But here's another fact. Entertainment Partners is a 100% employee-owned company. So Mary, and Christy, and Gillian, and I are all employee owners. Yay. There's about 1,000 of us throughout the United States and Canada. Do you have an exact number? How many employee owners we have?
We have 1,200.
1,200.
Yeah.
1,200 people to service an industry with so hundreds of thousands. Did I already see how many W-2s we do?
No, you didn't.
Okay. How many W-2s would you estimate that EP produces annually?
Wow.
A lot, yes.
70,000.
I'm sorry, how many?
70,000.
70 million. Too low, too high?
And this does not include the Canadian equivalent, because it's not called W-2 in Canada.
You're getting closer.
Wrap it up a little bit.
Oh, I've got a minute. Over 600,000 W-2s. Yeah, you're right. Closest without going over, right over here. Yes, sir.
In any company, when you bring in, say, oh, let's do this in big data, or all the people who are doing the existing stuff, how did you teach them, how did you educate them, and how did you get them up or get rid of them? How did you
That's a great question. We did bring some help from the outside to teach and hire in experts in data science to help us with all the components of doing a project like this. Now, here's my fun fact. I am formerly a project manager on the technology side, but I saw a need on the business side. So I actually transitioned to legal in 2014 to run this business unit. It was so fascinating to me. And that's another really nice thing about EP, is that it is fluid. Our people can move from department to department following their interests. And that's really nice. Some companies just pay lip service to that. Ours actually delivered. Okay.
So people are encouraged by this?
Yes.
Did you see what was the culture like? Are they excited? Yeah, but or
Yes.
do they do this or they just I'm
Well,
okay with my stuff?
you know, if you rewind back to 2013, nobody really understood the ACA, right? But they all knew it was coming. They all knew it was coming. Our CEO was really supportive of this initiative, and at every turn he'd be like, "We're doing this. We're doing this. We're doing this." Our CEO knows each one of us by first name. It's just awesome. I'm sorry, I think I have to wrap up because they're playing that Oscar music to get me off the stage. And I'm going to still be here if you have any questions, if you'd like to grab some tchotchke on your way out. It's been a pleasure talking to all of you.
Thank you.